Anticipated that as many as 5,000 fans would fill Walter A. Phillips Field in Ashland, and it looked full to me. Grants Pass student body and band showed up in force as well as the rest of the Cavers fans. Grants Pass must look like a ghost town earlier tonight. Head coach Tom Blanchard was trying to guide his team over the final hump after defeating North Medford and Roseburg earlier in the season. Early on a defensive struggle, GP linebacker Matt Smith stuffing Casey Curtis. Late in the first quarter, though, Smith opens the door for the Grizzlies. Justin Anderson intercepts and returns it to the 1-yard line. One play later, Casey Curtis does the rest for the Grizzlies. Just over 1 minute to play in the first quarter, Ashland goes on top 1-0. Now in the Grizzlies' first drive of the second quarter, David Buchanugan finds a little hole, scoots out of a tackle right there, breaks loose and takes off down the sideline for a 37-yard gain out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Very next play, Jeremy Steinman drops back to pass, can't find anybody, tucks the ball under his arm and sets sail. Steinman finally driven out of bounds in close to the goal line. One play later, Steinman drops back and he finds Buchanugan open. Watch the little shoulder shake right here by Boot. That's the way it's done. Ashland in the lead 14-0, and that's the way the scoreboard read at halftime. 14-zip Ashland. Cavers head coach Tom Blanchard knew he had his work cut out for him.
Well, they got to block somebody, and we got to move the ball more than an inch, or we have no chance, and we will. It'll be our second half here.
Now, a scoreless third quarter. The only time anybody came close was when the Grizzlies attempted a field goal attempt, but Ryan Surros blocked that for the Cavers. That gave Grants Pass a little bit of momentum. Fourth quarter, watch the determination here by Jesse Ortiz. He just refuses to go down. 4 Grizzlies on top of him. He's at 15-yard run. Third and goal. Ashland's defense comes up big. Linebacker C.G. Fredrickson stuffs the Cavers. That sets a 4th and goal situation. Smith drops back to pass. Finds Scotter Berry open. Makes the score 14-6 Ashland. But the Grizzlies then miss the point after touchdown. Ashland had another late score. Final score 21-6 Ashland. Grizzlies undefeated and on top in the SOC. Now, the Grizzlies are not out of the woods yet, however, for another SOC title. In 2 weeks, Ashland plays host to North Medford in the regular season's final game. Black Tornado with only an overtime loss to Grants Pass in conference play, and North tonight posted its 5th straight win.
Unfortunately, due to a lack of interest, we have no football to tell you about tonight.
Oh, you could start a riot out there.
Everybody,
just
take it easy.
kidding.
Something not to joke, but
just testing the panic button.
To see what happens. That's why Grants Pass and Ashland took, I think there were like 800,000 fans. The stadium was packed.
That is a game that you just dream about.
Yeah, exactly. And it turned out a lot of times those games,
that's
big
something.
crowd, 800,000, that may be an overestimate. You know, no matter what the circumstances, though, the Grizzlies of Ashland always seem to find a way to win. Tonight, undefeated and 5th-ranked Grants Pass came to town, but once again, the state's #1 team showed why the pollsters seem to always take a liking to the Grizzlies. Maybe it was closer to 7,000 fans. Who knows? They all crammed into Walter A. Phillips Field, and that's a conservative estimate, probably. Defense, though, ruled this one early on. Quarterback Matt Smith, he's tough at linebacker tonight. Not his night at quarterback. Picked off by Justin Anderson down to the 1-yard line, and Ashland would do the rest. Casey Curtis over the top, one of his many touchdowns this season. The Grizzlies always capitalize. Ashland led 7-zip after one. Hey, buddy, down in front there. On to the second we go. Senior quarterback Jeremy Steinman. Look at him go. He can throw the ball and run as well. 26-yard scamper, as they call it, down at the Grants Pass 3-yard line. This in the second quarter. Steinman finds your favorite friend and mine, David Buchanugan, on the touchdown, his 7th touchdown of the season. Ashland led 14-zip at the half. Second half, Grants Pass picks it up defensively. The whole team sacked Steinman on that play. Then the hit of the night. Watch Matt Smith on David Buchanugan. A ferocious hit. Smith had to leave the game for 5 minutes to recover. He's the one that made the hit. That's hard to believe. Grants Pass would finally come back. Smith back in at quarterback. He finds 8 yards out. The touchdown pass. That one to Scooter, our friend and yours, Scooter Berry. But it's not enough. A late interception and touchdown by Ashland wins it for good. 21-6 is the final. Matt Smith's defense superb, but his 4 interceptions proved costly tonight. The Cavemen gave up 167 rushing yards to Ashland's 37. Wow, the Grizzly defense once again tough this season. Here's what's left if you're wondering how the SOC championship picture paves out. Ashland right now will be at Klamath Union next week, then North Medford in 2 weeks. That should be a dandy. Grants Pass has
Friday Night Football. To my right, Tom Recepke, FNF host. To my left, F&F analyst Joe Brett, fresh off the Grants Pass Ashland game, which is the first thing we're going to talk about. You could swear Garth Brooks was in town the way that line was there at Walter A. Phillips Field today.
Very, very long, and people have been talking about this one for what seems like 2 months now. And the SOC regular season still has a couple of weeks remaining, but the conference championship was there for the taking for Grants Pass tonight. But they had quite a task ahead of them if they were going to win their first outright SOC title since 1972, beating the state's #1 ranked team on their home turf. Standing room only for this one, homecoming at Walter A. Phillips Field. Emotions running high early. Matt Smith to Jared Olson, and Michael Wolf plants him on the ground and barks at the moon. Grants Pass faced with 3rd and long. Smith tries for Scooter Berry, but is picked off by number 7. It's Chad Cota. No, it's Justin Anderson, and he's out at the 1. Tom Blanchard looks worried, and he should be. Casey Curtis dives in for the score. The Grizz take the first lead at 7-0, and the home crowd loves it. The Ashland defense was in Smith's face all game. This time he's mauled by a trio of Bears, Mike Douglas, Curtis, and Darren Gasson. Now the Grizz will get the ball back and mount a drive. Jeremy Steinman can't find a receiver and decides to run it. He gets some good yards over the left side. Those are Buchanugan-type moves. He's inside the 5. The next play, Steinman finds a receiver. It's Buchanugan, and the Grizz go up 14-0 in the second quarter. Jim Nagel making all the right calls from high up in the booth. Now the Cavemen are forced to go to the air after being down by 2 touchdowns. Smith is chased by Douglas and throws up an ill-advised pass. It floats into the hands of Ethan Titus for another turnover, and Smith knows he should not have thrown that one. The game ball goes to the Ashland D tonight. Smith is harassed again. Credit Jason Robustelli with the sack. The Grizzlies show why they're #1 in the state. They hand Grants Pass its first loss of the year by a score of 21-6. To round out the scoring, Smith hit Scooter Berry with the 4th down touchdown play to cut it to 4.
Jeremy Steinman, the Ashland quarterback, a big point coming into this one. This is the 3rd game Steinman has been up against a quarterback supposedly outmatched. Well, he outplayed Matt Smith tonight quite convincingly, like he did Jensen and Matt Berry earlier this year. In the Ashland defense, I think there's little question as to which is the strongest in the league. South Medford had a good effort against Grants Pass last week, but Ashland really put the pressure on Matt Smith.
Now, Ashland, go ahead.
I was going to say even the running game of Grants Pass was stifled tonight. 37 yards on 24 carries, less than a yard a carry.
That was suspect coming into the game, and Ashland did a great job to shut that down. In the 4th quarter, some misdirections, some reverses had Grants Pass with some success. They took an Ashland fumble, drove it in for a score, but missed an extra point, and from that point on, Ashland just wrapped it up. Great showing by Steinman, by the Ashland defense, and they really played like a #1 team.
And Jim Nagel very happy with his defense. He knows that they rose to the occasion, and he praised them following the ball game.
I think our defense just played superb. Our front people, Mike Douglas and Darren Gaston in particular, Casey Curtis, C.G. Fredrickson, Miles, Roger, you know, those front people just dominated them up front, and the secondary played real well too. So it was a great team effort. It's great that we had this opportunity, and you know, we've got a couple of big ones coming down the road here, and 1 in 2 weeks.
That game in 2 weeks against North once again in Ashland's home turf, and that could be the conference championship.
Well, Ashland did North a big favor tonight because it could be a 3-way tie. If North can beat Ashland, North, though, has already lost to Grants Pass, and we saw Ashland take apart Grants Pass pretty well.
You covered the Grizzly beat. How do they manage this scheduling coup? They play all the toughies at Walter A. Phillips.
It just worked out. There are only 4 home games this year: Roseburg South, Grants Pass, and North. Yeah, they did that well. Watch out for Grants Pass, though. They're a very talented team. I think they learned a lot tonight about playing the highest level of football in the state of Oregon. That's a team that's going to come back, learn from this, and learn how to operate in a more efficient manner.
They most likely will be the #2 team going into the playoffs.
I would say you could almost assure that, and I think it will be Grants Pass doing a good job in the playoffs, making a good long run.
And there were other teams that played tonight, believe it or not. Let's take a look at the scoreboard.